His journey is full of resilience and is a guide for different people who give up. So it educates for patient rights to free talks with doctors, with medical bill negotiation and health seminar.
If you know what's coming in the future, it'll keep you on task today, is the way I've always felt it. And we help with everything from networking with program directors and CEOs, interview preparation, personal statements, letters of recommendation, rotations, guaranteed research publications, whatever you can think of.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Afsha. So let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Afsha. I'm working as a research associate with one of the artificial intelligence in neurology. So I'm happy to have this platform and to host this webinar uh, on this platform and with IMG Helping Hands. So our speaker, let me introduce the speaker for today, Dr. Raj Kumar. Dr. Raj Kumar is a physician. He's an entrepreneur. He's a motivational speaker with a background from UNC, Chapel Hill, Harvard, and University of Miami. He's a doctorpreneur, he's a consultant, he's a business consultant, and he has collaborated with multiple TED Talks. He has met with Mark Cuban, and he has also engaged with US Vice President as well. If we talk about his journey is full of resilience and is a guide for different people who give up. So his journey starts from surviving into extortion and health crisis to living in the Section 8 housing, which fuels up his coming book, The American Dream. Failure is good. After successfully founding and selling a primary care practice, he pursued medical law and launched Eight Doctors Group, a think tank empowering healthcare professions, which is beyond medicine. With 31 credentials officer, it educates for patient rights to free talks with doctors, with medical bill negotiation and health seminar. For those who are underestimated or overlooked, Dr. Kumar's story proves that resilience wins. So from here we can conclude not all heroes wear caps. Some define their journey. So we are happy to host Dr. Raj Kumar. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dr. Afshan, thank you so much for having me. Very happy and very proud to be here because I understand this journey that everyone is going through. Very excited. So thank you for the kind words. Thank you so much to you, Dr. Afshan, and thank you to Dr. Zain, IMG Helping Hands. I'm very proud to see the good works that all of you are doing. I've also championed this race like many of you behind the screen. The United States of America is going through a great shortage of providers, physicians, nurses, physician assistants, and so more. We are looking at about 160,000 shortage in this country. So this is why this talk becomes even more serious, more relevant to what is to become. Our people, as international graduates, are going to help solve this healthcare failure, this healthcare ineptness, this healthcare challenge. And if you're a human being, you're a patient. You're part of the dialogue. So please remember, I'm an Indian man and an immigrant. I wasn't born in the U.S. You are helping to solve good karma. I'm spiritual in that way, so don't ever think spirituality and medicine can't live together. They very much can. So I want to at least set that tone for everybody before we get into some of the particulars. And thank you for the kind welcome and introduction. Yes, I come from the primary care world. I'm in the consulting space as an executive physician. I went through medical school, law school, and business school to come where I am now and created an organization of 26 doctors that are consultants in the healthcare space. So we work with two different types of doctors just to give you a sense, because I think it's good that people should see the big picture to stay motivated on this hard, challenging journey. If you know what's coming in the future, it'll keep you on task today, is the way I've always felt it, because medicine is all about delayed gratification. It's hard, it has suffering, it has thanklessness, but there's a beauty and a romance in it as the chapter gets to another stage of life. So our organization, we work with two different types of doctors. Our physicians are of many, many specialties and many different walks of life, nationalities, religions, and whatnot. And one, we work with a practicing doctor, what many of you will be tomorrow. Those people need help with buying and selling practices, negotiating contracts, job placement, malpractice lawsuits, an unfortunate gift you will get, especially in the United States of America. You get a free target on your back, no extra charge, no copay required. So, as physicians, as great as it is to have this position, you do get targeted very unfairly. So, we help those older doctors in that phases of their life. On the other hand, we work with the young and upcoming physician. Those are those people who have worked very hard in whatever country it might be, US included, who are going through the process of medical school and then who come to the stage where they now need to pursue their training. So we help with the beloved match process. We have worked with people of many ethnic backgrounds, many cultures, and we help with everything from networking with program directors and CEOs, interview preparation, personal statements, letters of recommendation, rotations, guaranteed research publications, whatever you can think of with regard to that illustrious match in whatever specialty it is, we help with that. So we're working with the young doctor and the old doctor. I always like to believe that we are making doctors as a result of our work, which I'm very proud of. So that's a little synopsis of what we've been doing for different levels of physicians. And I'll tell you, as sort of a motivation to many as well, we've had the great fortune of meeting people like Mark Cuban, the Vice President of the United States, U.S. senators and congressmen, captains of industry and of hospitals and businesses and healthcare, AI and farm tech companies and everything. So remember, this is part of the path that you will eventually reach, because as you pursue medicine, the times are changing. You do not want to become extinct. You do not want to become an obsolete model. You've got to be savvy in your career. Earning that MD, even the DO, is not enough anymore. You must have some other life skills, some other degrees, some other networks that will make you strong and relevant, because you're going to work so hard. Many of you already dedicated 5, 10, 15 years of your life and just mad sacrifice. You become half insane and you have increased inflammation and blood pressure. There is a joy, there is a gift at the end of that journey. Make no mistake. I'm one example in front of you, and there's so many other colleagues like myself. So that's a little bit of a wrap, Dr. Afshan, a little bit about me, our organization, the kind of things we've done. We've seen every case possible. I've cried with candidates on the match on the phone. I've listened to candidates on the phone, screaming and shouting in anger and frustration. We have dealt with people who match first time, who have to apply even 7 times or more. All kinds of situations we've seen from all around the world. I don't think there's a story that we don't know. We've worked with people for years and thousands of people, and it's very personal for us. We are physicians, for physicians, by physicians. You're not talking to secretaries, business people, lawyers. You're talking to people who understand your struggle. We've lived it and we're in the trenches. So I'm very happy to be here to kind of touch upon that hard journey that we all go through. So thank you, Dr. Afshan. So you tell me, maybe how can we be of help? I have so much knowledge in this space, so much excitement. Maybe if there's any questions from you or the crowd, or you want me to speak to my own thinkings, but I always want to keep a sort of a democratic process.
So let's have two ways, and then you can go from here if I'm lacking something, or you can
Okay,
add me.
okay,
Yeah. So I have few
okay.
questions.
Please,
Then
of
you can
course.
ask. Yeah.
I want to
So
give my heart and my experience. Nobody guided me, My
yeah,
goodness, I don't know how people get through this. There's no handbook, there's no manual. There's no secret sauce or one video that puts it all together. You have to pull from here, from here, from here, from here. Your batchmates, your professors, the internet, chat forums. It's hard. It's a rough
true.
game. It's a rough
I
game.
agree. I agree. And in this digital world that we are going towards, and probably we are into, so what are the soft skills other than all the qualifications we can have? What do you think? What soft skills should we have to upgrade our profile so
I
that we can
see.
stand out in front of everyone and something is different and maybe useful? So can you have some, put some
Okay,
light on it?
okay. Sure, sure. Good question. May I ask, when you speak about these soft skills, are you specifically asking with regard to match per se, or you just mean like a career in medicine?
Both. First match, that's
Both.
the
Okay,
main thing, and then the career, like both.
got it. The greatest gift, if you ask me, of the human species is our communication, that feedback loop, right? From one person to another or group to group. So it's not just about communicating, it's also about listening. So I'm going to answer your thought in two different ways, perhaps. One, you've got to be a very empathetic listener. That is the art of the great physician, right? The bedside manner is more the cure than the medication or the procedure, is the way you have to look at it. So we have two of these ears, right? So we should
Mm-hmm.
use them more often than one of these. So listening is a great skill. And when I say
Mm-hmm.
listening, it means understanding an interview question, understanding the patient's maybe medical history or anything else, social history that they might share with you in an exam room, for instance. And when you listen, it's not just sitting there and staring at their face, like a deer in the headlights, as they say. It means, body language, right? In interviews, this is very key. You're nodding your head, you are validating them, you're using your hands, I understand. I see your
Mm-hmm.
point. Thank you for sharing. I've been there, right? Just quick little words and gestures while they're talking, whether you're in an interview setting or you're treating a patient or any skill, could be with your brothers, your sisters, your classmates, your friends. People want to feel recognized and validated. And I'll add this one thought too in listening. Sometimes we're quick to judge as human beings, especially in our cancel culture that we have today. Even if you don't agree with someone, right? Even if you want to lash back at them, first, I feel you should empathize with them, right? Some patient comes in and they tell you that they're beating their spouse and they're on some kind of narcotic drug. This is probably not a good thing. This is not a good thing, right? We all know this in every culture in every part of the world. But stop for a minute, sit in their shoes, and just empathize before you lash at them, right? I'm sorry you're going through this. Maybe they need rehabilitation. Maybe they just need some kind of help or intervention. Some other stress is coming into their story. So you even validate them first. Then, when the moment is right, you put in your criticism or your judgment. Because here's what I say: if they tell you, well, I'm doing these bad things, and then you yell at them and criticize them, do you think you've changed them? Do you think you've rehabilitated them, whether you're in the position of a doctor or a position of a friend? You have not. You've actually exacerbated the situation. You've made it worse. The patient will trust you less. They lose that vulnerability, right? Then that friend, you want them to change their bad habits if they're hurting somebody, they won't, because they're going to think that you didn't listen. So that listening has a lot of power in it, is what my suggestion is, whether it be a friend, family, or patient. So that's one. Number two, to your question, the soft skills, life skills, as I call, we do a lot of
Mm-hmm.
interview prep, one-on-one, not like a recorded session, but very customized one-on-one teaching for interview prep for the match, right? For residency, fellowship, whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
The art of communication, as I referenced earlier, the public speaking of it sets you apart from the rest of the world. There's a joke in America that people hate taxes and public speaking. And why is it that they hate both? You have to go to the essence of the understanding when a patient tells you something, for instance. One, nobody wants to give away money, right? That's why they hate taxes. Even if it's paying for parks and roads and education. Public speaking, fear. That's it. It's fear. That's why they hate it. So if you can develop this art of communication, which we do, within our organization and with our patients, and it's also happened in my life. I was a very quiet, introverted kid at one point, and then I learned to blossom. You will have so much more love for people, power on this planet, and it is a huge accent to your goals, whatever it might be, match or anything else. So that art of communication is very key. That's, in the eye contact, the face, the body gestures, the hands, so on and so forth. But then you also have to learn the right language, right? What
Mm-hmm.
language are you speaking in? Is there an accent? What are the appropriate catchphrases or quotes? Sometimes you have to understand pop culture, sports, politics, and medicine. Even, for example, when you're applying for the match, we help you prepare like that. Even I didn't know these things times ago. I mean, can you imagine? I've been to the White House. I've talked to, United States senators. I've talked to billionaires, done work with these people. I recently started talking to some people in Hollywood for a larger organization. We have United Doctors of America. We're 200 doctors and growing. We're working on healthcare reform and healthcare transparency. If I cannot communicate to them as a minority, as an immigrant, and a little bit of an outsider. I'm not a politician. I'm not an
Mm-hmm.
actor or director. I'm not a billionaire, right? If I cannot relate to them on those levels, how else can I connect with them? How I talk and how I talk about the world. If my knowledge is good in certain spaces, or at least I train myself in small bits, even before a match residency or just a meeting of sorts in a boardroom, then you can win people. You can relate to people. And I'll add something in, if I may, Dr. Afshan. When you're doing an interview, for example, for match, anything, residency, fellowship, even medical school for that matter, pick up what the other person is saying and give it back to them. That's the beauty. You know that great question, tell me about yourself in the interviews for match,
Mm-hmm.
right? Interview will ask you, so welcome, Dr. Raj. I'm glad to have you here on Monday morning. I'm your program director. I'd like to tell you a little bit about our program. But first, let's start off. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, young man? Right? So pretend I'm the candidate. It's a very
Perfect.
lazy question. Tell me about yourself. You're making the interviewee, the candidate, do the work for you. So what happens is you sit there telling a whole list of your life. I lived here, I was born here, then I did some rotations, I've done my steps, I've done some research, blah, blah, blah. You're loading the information into that person's brain, the interviewer, and they're
Mm-hmm.
going to ask you questions about all those subject matters I just outlined. That's the art of the interview. Feed them the information so that they ask you the questions back. So, for example, you don't tell them necessarily in the beginning, well, I failed this. I'm a lazy person. I wake up at 2 p.m. I hate patients. You don't talk these kind of things. If you
Mm-hmm.
give the negative information, of course, they're going to ask you about it. So you give the positive information, especially in the beginning of an interview, and let them take that and give it back to you. They'll ask you questions. So you're controlling the interview. See, that's the other art of the communication. You can direct them where you want. You have more power than you realize. You know, it's like going on a first date, a man and a woman, and a man is talking to a woman. Men, we have big egos. Doctors, we have even bigger egos. And we love to talk about how special we are, how important we are, all of this. You need to listen, especially if there's a woman across the table from you and you listen and you talk. You may pick up things about what she's wearing or what she's saying or what she's even not saying, and you give it back, right? If she talks about her childhood or her education or her favorite flowers or movies, you pick up that information and you ask about it instead of talking about yourself in that way. So you have to also use that sense when you're with the interviewer. If the interviewer did their training in a certain place, if there's some objects in their office, oh, is that a picture of your children? Or, oh, I see you have this flag, you're from this country, or that's a different looking stethoscope. Does it have any special meaning for you? Right? So you
Mm-hmm.
pick up what people are wearing and their surroundings. Even behind me, I have these surroundings, right? Sitting in
Mm-hmm.
a home. So you have to be strategic with these soft skills. So listening and speaking. And they're not as hard as you think they are if you are directed and coached properly for it. And it's worth it, right? I have so many people that I've helped with the interview process for match, and it carries on to life. It's like a research publication, Dr. Afshan. You work so hard, right?
Yeah.
We do all these bloody USMLEs, we do all these crazy exams in medical school. But once you start your program for training, nobody cares. Nobody asks. Like, oh my goodness, like, hey, I got a 270. How come nobody's asking me? I want to put it on a billboard. I'm so proud of myself. Nobody cares once you're in training and once you're done, right?
Yeah.
Imagine I'm in my 40s now. You think anybody cares? Nobody even asked me that question. It doesn't even matter. Oh, I was number 5 in my class, or I had all A's, or I had this score. You look immature if you talk about it now at this stage I'm at. So, in the same way, research publications, it is something that carries throughout your career. It doesn't go away. That's the gift of the research publication. So, even after you finish your training, even if you're in the work life, you're raising your family, you are still a published author on the World Wide Web, the mighty internet, your journal publication. So, that's a point of pride, but it lasts with you. So do speaking skills and listening skills. You'll become a greater doctor. You'll become a greater wife, husband, friend. It is what connects us, as I said earlier, as human beings. So this will be my first quick thoughts that people can access without great difficulty, without
Mm-hmm.
major expense, and without terribly extensive training, right? Meaning like
Mm-hmm.
going back and doing school and other degrees. There's other skills you need to develop, but I wanted to at least get that sense for you. So I hope that's at least a little helpful.
Yeah, that's very insightful of you, and this is giving us different aspects. So how can we
Uh,
work as a holistic approach towards interview and everything?
yes,
So anyone who wants to ask some questions, can write it on chat box. That's open. I can read it if they have any. S- Plus, in the meanwhile, uh, like this webinar is about IMG going to US residency and entrepreneurship. So, what are the different
yes.
aspects of entrepreneurship that you would like to give some light on, and different, what do you call it, different lines to explore, or some ideas or some vision?
I see. With regard to like medical entrepreneurship?
Yep.
Okay, okay, gotcha. So not so much match then. So
Yeah,
entre
for now, because this is both.
okay. So with regard to entrepreneurship, I think most everybody knows AI is already old information. It is here and it is only growing and it is infused with healthcare. I actually gave a talk on this recently. Why is AI infused in healthcare? Because we're trying to capture time. That's the challenge, time. Today's doctor has to see more patients in less time. But the difference is it doesn't work like the days of old. We need to be able to do our good work. You cannot sit with somebody, whether it's for medicine or something else, in 5 minutes and necessarily fix their life. It's too short. So AI technology is trying to make things efficient, and I like to call it is the time connection, the human connection, but it's an instrument of time. In the days of old, the Greeks and Roman time, doctors were involved in big judgments like education, sewage system, marriage, the rearing of children. Then later on, as civilization progressed, the physician became the house call doctor. And they'd bang on the doors and come in your home and take care of you. But they weren't just the doctors in the town. They were also sometimes like the part-time mayor and the part-time handyman. They had several roles. Now, in the next iteration, the evolution of the physician, where are we at? We've got artificial intelligence, we've got cloning, we've got biotechnology, we've got robotics. And all of these instruments, if I can call it that, could potentially make us obsolete models, dinosaurs, if we don't know how to infuse ourselves with that technology. So, really, my answer to you with regard to healthcare entrepreneurship is technology. Every sector of the world is having technology, AI, and so many other labels that we just use as catchphrases in there. Telecommunications has it, law has it, business has it, politics has it. So, in medicine, if you can get into technology along with being a physician, it'll keep your longevity in the career. So that could be working with a health tech company, investing in healthcare stocks, getting an extra master's or an education in cybersecurity, some kind of IT. Big data is also on the horizon. So you've got to know how to do that with healthcare. And then, of course, you have to use all of these toys, if I can call it that, in your practice, right? You've got your EMRs and so many other instruments. These things, these phones, they've become organs. They're like attached to our body. They run
Mhm.
everything. So make sure you know how to use all of these different types of instruments. And I can go on and on medical devices and all of these things, but be a consultant, maybe part-time work with these kind of companies while you have clinical work going on. So there's more than one way to do it. If you don't know the technology or you're not a programmer or you're not a big fan of artificial intelligence, then you can invest in it, buy money in stocks, work with companies that do. You don't have to have the skills yourself necessarily, but be around the people who do. So that I'll give as just a soft answer to your question.
Perfect. So I have some questions.
Uh,
So what advice
Please.
would you give? Sorry, can I carry on?
Yes, I hear
Hello?
you. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to the international or underrepresented represented students trying to stand out in US residency match process? Like we're talking about, because this is a match season, everyone is upgrading
Yes.
themselves and they want to, upskill themselves. So what advice like you would give to them?
Okay. No, wonderful. I really appreciate that question because that I have a lot of expertise in as well. So I have some multiple suggestions of how to stand out. So you have to look at the application because it's a very complicated, mad application. You have to summarize your whole life that you've been bleeding and sweating for 5, 10, 15 years, and now you have to package it up into this little application, which is so tedious to fill out. You have to see what are the controllable variables and what are the less controllable variables. That's the way I like to attack this.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, the variables that you cannot control is your year of graduation and your board scores, right?
Yeah.
Whatever they are, right? Whatever year you finish, whatever score you earned, it's done. It's not going to change. So where else can you have variability to sell yourself? Make no mistake, you are interviewing for a job, not school. You need to know that that is the employer that you're talking to. So you have to position your mindset in the same way very differently than school. And sometimes I see candidates forgetting that. So now you have to say, okay, why would somebody hire me? Why would they want me to work for them is the way to look at it. So I have a couple of thoughts how you can make yourself distinctive. So one, you must fill in every box of that darn application. Don't leave anything blank. And one of the areas that I find people have a challenge in is research, right? There's a
Mm-hmm.
research section that you need to fill out in the application. More people than often don't have anything. They don't have a poster presentation. They never had a group project. They never had a peer reviewed individual project, right? Publication, like something on PubMed or US Journal. You need this filled. We're very good at that. We get guaranteed publications. Our doctors from our team, I mentioned earlier, our 26 doctors, we sit on boards of some of these journals and we're experienced in research. Even I've done it. So you need that done because what happens is, I should preface my thoughts with this. They have a sheet where they have like a coding system. You're rated, you get numbers, you get points on who you are as a candidate, especially when you're in the interview. And they look at these things. Do they have research? Do they have the right number of LORs? What kind of extracurricular activities do they have? Do they come off professional? Are they well spoken? So there's a point system. So if you have that box empty, you just got a big fat zero. You wasted that opportunity because that is one of the controllable variables, right? Year of
Mm-hmm.
graduation, USMLE, that's done. But capture the controllable variables, right? Like life. Some things in life you can't control, some things in life you can. So let's work on the things that we can control, isn't it? So you get the
Yeah.
concept, right? So that research is something that we manage very well. Next, some of the other points to keep in mind. Your letters of recommendation. This I find is a challenge for some people too. So they don't realize that you need United States letters of recommendation. And number two, you want three of them at least in every specialty you apply to. So don't be difficult and use zero. Don't just take from your home country and that's it. You are applying for a job in the United States of America. If I'm applying for a job at McDonald's and I give them a resume about all my work I've done as a car mechanic, why would they talk to me? They'd be like, this guy's an idiot. He's give us an application to work on cars, but we're in the food industry. So you have to change your mind. And it's a hard and it's even a prejudicial system. Remember, I'm an immigrant. I wasn't born here. I've come from India. Then I built my life, became a US citizen, so on and so forth. You want to do some of my path, if you don't mind me saying it this way. I say it humbly, but you want to reach some of the stage, myself, friends, and other colleagues. So we've walked through this drama that you guys have gone through and are still going through. So you need to have an American mindset. So these letters of recommendation, because it's American training, they want to know how you're going to be with the American patient. You need letters from US professors, physicians, leaders. So that's another mistake I see all too often. And I'll tell you on the bottom of the letter, speaking now to that, you want someone who's got a title. You don't want just Dr. Raj. You want someone who's chairman of a department, chief of staff, program director, chief research coordinator, some associate professor, some ancillary title. Like when we do our rotations for students and we do our LORs, we very much customize them. I personally see them myself, and people can even review them and throw it away or edit it if they don't want us, if they don't like what we've done, but we make ours very unique. So we keep that very open in what we do, and we find it works. I work with 23 different program directors myself. I know them personally. I text with them because I'm helping them with their investments, challenges with their kids, with their job, and all of this. So then I get the opportunity to say, hey, I'd like to recommend this candidate to you because we've been friends for years. Would you take a look at them? You see, that's how you make that friendship. So those LORs need to be more customized, and they need to sell a story in there. One thing people miss in LORs, they say, this is very smart. This woman can do histories and physicals.
Mhm.
I highly recommend this person. This is all garbage. It's everybody says. I'm not saying you don't put it in there, but don't only put that. You need some story about how you engage with a patient. If it's for research, maybe there's a story of something you did with statistics or something unique in the clinical work there in the research, but you need something to pop. That is very important in your LOR and in your personal statement. So whenever we've done personal statements and LORs for people, we make it very Americanized, very, how do I say, storytelling like, and that's what sells. You need to even do that in your 10 experiences in your application. You have to put a little story in each one. Each one is like a mini PS, personal
Mhm.
statement. You have to make a story in that. And I see grammatical errors. I see people writing very plain and uninteresting. I see people copying things from the internet or using just Chat GPT. Nobody's a fool. A lot of these doctors and admission committee folks, remember, they got a lot of gray hairs. It means they have life experience. They're going to read through your BS. Don't think you're smarter than them. Remember, physician is trained to be an investigator, right? To
Mhm.
analyze, to diagnose. People can see things in a patient from across the room without even talking to them or putting a stethoscope on their body. So why you think you're going to get around them? They may not tell you this, but then behind the scenes, they're going to think, oh, this guy was a little funny. I don't think he's right for us, right? You don't want to fall into that situation. So be a little smart. Some other things I can tell you. Interview tips.
Okay.
You've got to have a good background when it's a virtual interview. You've got to have that eye-hand coordination that I talked about. And you have to know how to chit-chat. You have to know how to talk about other things in the world, like I mentioned earlier, sports and politics and business and maybe religion and where healthcare is going, right? We just talked about healthcare and technology. Understand what is Medicare and Medicaid and, what are underserved populations. The more you can talk like this, the more it's just a conversation. It's like you and a buddy sitting at dinner or sitting at the bar, chit chatting. That is really the ideal how you want to go through your interview. You don't want like question one, question two, question three. Then you're not a human being. Because remember, programs are at least 3 years or more. They want to know that they can mesh with you, that they can vibe with you during the training. Are you going to get along with the rest of the team? Are the patients going to love you? One, they want a smooth life. They don't want to be babysitting or dealing with any drama, anger with people and this, that. Number two, liability. Their
Mhm.
employers, they're hiring you. If you make a mistake, but you're a nice person, you listen to people, you understand the patient, less likely to have a lawsuit. We call this in medicine risk management, right? I went to law school, I'm an MBA as well. Risk management is important. But if you're a mean person and you think you're the smartest one in the room all the time and you know all the medications and you don't listen to people, and one day you make a mistake, you're going to be the first one who's sued. And if you get sued, your employer, your hospital, they all get sued, and then they want to throw you away. So getting
Mhm.
in is one thing, staying in is another. So you have to think about this with your interview skills. That it's very much needed, that personality, that bedside. And that's what we do. We do one-on-one, very involved, deep-hearted training. We teach you about life. We teach you how to put props around you, what to wear, what to say. And we very specify too. We tell you about the city, if it's an urban program or if it's a university program, if it's a rural program, if it's a community hospital program, if it's Democratic, if it's Republican, if there's a big sporting group over here, or if there's a big, you know, uh, let's say, opera performance. We make you very familiar with the hospital and the surroundings so that you sound like you've lived there for years, that you're the local kid, you're going to come and train there, and you're going to live and work there afterwards and raise your children, right? That's what they want. They want to know that they can train you and you're going to stay there for the most part. Otherwise, you're training your competition, right? As an employer, I'm an employer too. You're training
Mhm.
your competition. You want the people to stay. So this is another idea I can share with you. Another thought, I think the mistake that people make is on their CV, on the resume section. So let's say, for instance, let me give you an example, Dr. Afshan. Let's say somebody is applying for family medicine. They know that that is their probably their best choice, or maybe it's even internal medicine. But they're also applying for OB-GYN and surgery. So what
Mhm.
happens is they fill their resume member of the internal medicine organization, member of the surgery organization, OB-GYN association. And then other parts of their resume speak about all these different specialties too. You did rotation, OB-GYN, surgery, IM, internal medicine. Remember on the application, you can change your letters of recommendation, you can change your personal statement, but that resume, you cannot. That is a variable that is kind of less controlled. So if I'm looking at you, I'm a program director and I want to
Yeah.
hire you, accept you in my program, and I see on your resume, oh gosh, you had OB-GYN, you had surgery, you had internal medicine. Two thoughts come to my mind. One, you're confused. Number two, which one is your backup? Nobody likes being second, right? Oh, you choose me second. You go on a date with somebody and you tell the person, well, you're my second choice date or you're my fourth choice date. No man or woman wants to hear that. That's not right, correct? So
True.
same way, employer thinks the same, correct? Oh, maybe you're really wanting to get surgery, but you're applying to internal medicine as a backup. Maybe you want internal medicine, but you're applying to family medicine as a backup. So nobody likes that feeling. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have to be smart on how we position that resume. So you have to be honest with yourself what specialty you're going for. You want 3 letters. We can do letters very fast, rotations. We're very good at it. On site, virtual. We've done everything, especially in the pandemic. We learned so much. But be smart on your resume. Don't you will kill all of your efforts then. I'm interviewing you and now I see you're interested in 3 different specialties. So I don't know how serious you are. I don't want you for any of them. Correct? So this is
Sure.
another mistake I see. So watch out for that. That's very important. And later on, I want to probably touch on some networking too. But please go ahead, Dr. Afshan. I'm probably giving too many words. Thank you.
No, no, no. It's good. We are hearing, we are learning, and this is the point of this webinar,
Oh,
probably.
no,
Yeah.
thank you. And
Thank you
I'll
so
mention too, with our interview prep, we do one-on-one. You are talking to doctors. I do some of the training myself. So does my team. We do mock interviews, and we surprise you. We'll tell you in 2 days. We'll set up all the props behind you so it looks good. We have you dress up, and you're going to meet somebody for the first time in your life, another doctor, and they're going to rip you apart. So you get to practice and fail in those settings with us before the main event, the real one. And there's so many different parts of the interview. There are those residency dinners, which are like hangouts.
much.
Sometimes there's an orientation type interview. Then there's the real interview, which could be one person or 3, 4 people. And sometimes there's a second look interview where they call you later on. So all of these have a different style behind them too. You don't talk to a peer, like a 25-year-old peer, the same way you're going to talk to a program director who's 55 years of age, right? You're going to
Yep.
talk to a woman differently, a man differently. You're going to talk to an Egyptian differently versus an American versus a Polish. So this is the strategy we put in our interview prep just to give you sense of it. So it's relevant. Don't minimize all of this. Please, Dr. Afshan, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't have any questions coming from chat, but I have many.
Okay.
So I'll
Please,
continue with
sure,
that.
sure. I'll be happy to share.
Yeah. So were there any key mentors or experiences that helped you navigate through your path from medical school
Uh,
to from like, where you are today? So would you like to share some
okay.
experiences and tell us about it?
Sure, sure. Of course. We do not succeed in life on our own. We always get help from everywhere in the universe. I very much believe in karma this way. What I'll tell you is you may not think it, when you're giving your success story on the stage one day, but everybody gets help in one way or another. So we've got to make sure we remember that and appreciate those people. So for me, my mentors, which exist to this day, some are in healthcare, some are not in healthcare. And it's kind of funny when I was in my 20s how some of these people perceive me. So remember, people don't see you as a threat when you have an older mentor, someone who's successful. Maybe they're 10 years older than you, for instance. So it's not always an instrument of age, it's really an instrument of experience, but more often than none, higher the age, higher the experience, right? Is a general correlation. So I've had mentors in business, in medicine, and in the beginning, as I got to know them, right, they're much older than me, 20 plus years. These people tested me, and you got to be ready for this. Don't take them for granted. Don't be mean. Understand that they're vetting you, they're training you, whether you like it or not. Oh my goodness. They used to pick on me. They used to stick me with bills that I couldn't afford back then for lunch or dinner. They would take me to parties in places that I felt very awkward, but it was always a test on how I could handle myself maturely. in tough situations. And moving fast forward, I'll tell you this with the mentorship. Later on, as I grew in life, when they finally said, okay, this kid is smart, he's motivated, he's charismatic, we want to see him fly. When you get older in life, you want to
Mhm.
help people and you don't ask for a return. You don't ask for money. So use it wisely. Don't abuse them, but use it wisely. Because mentorship and networking, they go hand in hand. And sometimes people sort of use people, and that's not the right way to do it. So what
Mhm.
happens is then they help me. As I started growing in my life, I started using their attorneys, their accountants, their financial advisors for free because they just said, oh, he's like our son. He's up and coming. He needs help. So their fatherly or motherly instinct comes out, right? That's in our DNA, whether you like it or not. And they come out and they give that heart, that love to you. So you have to go through a little bit of a test, right? Anything in life is always hard. If it were easy, nobody would want it. So even with them, right? Many people come to them, great mentors, great achievers, captains of industry. People bang on their door and ask them for help all the time. Why should they help you versus anybody else, right? So physician leaders, physician mentors are the same, and we're an arrogant bunch sometimes, so we don't like it, and we're also difficult with people in turn. So make sure you're giving a little bit of good karma, good value back to them. You may not be able to give them money, you may not be able to open up political big business doors to them, but respect them, be nice, thank them, offer help where you can. One of my graces that helped me when I had great mentors is I helped their children because I was a little more at the children's age level, right? So they would listen to me as I got on my success pattern of life. I talked to them from that vantage point, and they listened to me because nobody listens to their parents. I didn't do it either. At that age of life, you don't listen to your parents. Your parents can give you the winning lottery numbers, and you're like, Dad, you don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that happened. So this is just a little bit of advice on mentors. And as far as maybe capturing mentors, I mean, I didn't give you any specific names, but I'm giving you the types of mentors I've had, business as well as medicine. How I come back in life now for them is I've helped their children. I've introduced them to key people. Now I told you some of the things that myself and my team are doing, and great people like Dr. Bilal and Mr. Ravi and some others have really been great seeds in our organization. I help them where
Mhm.
I can. It might be business, it might get them to a special event, get them to special meetings, cell phone numbers of congressmen and senators, you see. So remember, you can always give value back. It's not always in money. Don't get lost in that. Some people you can't. What can I give a billionaire? I'm just a little doc, right? So you have to
Yeah.
maybe give access. You have to give wisdom. You might help in their family. So there's a respect and attention. When you reach a certain stage of life, that's what you're looking for, that respect and attention. So this is a little perspective I can give just on mentorship, but these are the kind of people who are around me that are very much my friends to this day. They help me in so many ways, and I do the same to them. So it's a beautiful friendship, not just a mentorship or people I've looked up to. We've come to a level of equal footing in the way we treat each other, even if they're bigger and better than I am. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
good.
I have more questions.
Yes.
So, yeah, what as this is an IMG journey, it's a US residency, we talk about resilience. So, what role did resilience play in your part for becoming a entrepreneur, and how can it inspire the residents to build this trait, like grit or maybe resilient? Because being resilient is very important in IMG's journey.
Understood. Understood. Yes. So here's what I'll tell you. These courses like organic chemistry, physics, biomechanical engineer, some people engineering, some people have taken these courses in their medical journey in whatever country you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you won't remember any of it. You probably won't use any of it unless you go into a certain, niche of healthcare. But what does
Mm-hmm.
all of that do for you? It prepares you and it trains you in your mental and your physical perseverance, is the way I look at all of this. So your training obviously gives you training, right? You need to know how to do a procedure, how to manage a patient, different personalities, good and bad, whatnot. But it teaches you time management, it teaches you stress management, it teaches you how to deal with human beings and how to be a leader and how to be a follower and when is the right timing. So this is good. On the other side of it too, it teaches you where the world of medicine is going. You're going to learn about the healthcare system, EMR, Medicare, Medicaid, for instance, in the US healthcare system. You're going to learn about legislation and politics sometimes that come around it. You may learn a little bit about billing, like ICD-10 coding and evaluation and management coding, depending on your specialties and whatnot. So this is going to teach you, hopefully, some things that you won't get in the books, and it won't be so easy to find in the internet. And it's also going to teach you things you don't want to hear about. It's going to teach you about yourself. Where are your weaknesses? Where are your bad lifestyle habits? Where are your breaking points? How do you come out of your sadness or your upset or your frustration or just long days? So it is a training. I always say difficulty in life doesn't just teach you who are your friends, it teaches you what are you made of, right? So it makes you into a champion. You have to remember, you're like a boxer, you're like an athlete, you're like a football player, basketball player. You're going through rigorous training. Don't complain, don't whine. You won't eat, you won't sleep, you may not even have happiness because it's setting you up to be a champion when you're done. We see all these celebrities on TV. You have any idea the hell they go through in their training and preparation for movies or modeling or music performances, whatever genre that they're in? It's intense. It's
Mhm.
intense. The guy with that great basketball shot, you think he did that over a weekend? He suffered for years, missed his family, compromised his health, his sanity, traveled. And then you get to see that one basketball shot that has now made him a hero, a legacy on the streets. Same thing with medicine. You give a patient an answer in 2 seconds, or you do a procedure in 3 hours, it looks easy to everybody else, but they don't see all of the challenge, the triumph, and the trial that comes to that point. So you have to keep all of this in mind in that journey. So that training is not just about the clinical, it's so much of a macro life that you also learn about, the bigger picture of healthcare, and embrace it. Embrace it is what I'm telling you. If you do that, you'll be a much more world-class physician and human being.
Thank you so much. That's really insightful of you.
Uh-huh.
So let's
Thank you.
talk about some innovation and entrepreneurship. Like, as someone who has been into a transition from clinical practice to medical law and consultancy, what skills should residents develop early in their life as they're developing everything? So, they can go develop themselves early on if they want to explore some non-traditional pathways.
I see. Okay, okay. Well, like I mentioned, listening and speaking skills, right? We
Okay.
work on this within our organization. Our group, by the way, is Innovate Doctors Group. Should you know, innovateyourlife.com is our group, INNOV8 yourlife.com, innovateyourlife.com. And what I'll tell you is, to answer your thought, you have to pay attention to technology. That's where we're going and that's where we're at. So, other parts that residents can learn about is the business of medicine, there is the research of medicine, there's the consulting of medicine. You can also work in hospitals, insurances, and home health companies. Home health companies, the nurses come to the home and treat the patient. So, what you do in learning about these things, obviously, you go and talk to Dr. Google and find whatever information you want. In the hospital, while you're there are representatives who are coming in your hospital all the time, or in your outpatient clinics. It could be a drug representative, it could be somebody from a home health, it could be somebody from a hospital. You need to start talking to them, learning from them, because even the internet's not going to give you everything you need. So
Mhm.
that's one way to start getting some exposure. And then on top of that, you're going to have to push yourself down some road of training. Maybe it is an extra degree. Maybe there is an extra internship. Maybe you get a job somewhere. Usually, most residents or fellows, work for someone in the beginning. You go somewhere where they're doing something more. Don't just get hired for your job. Get hired for the other jobs in that space that you could be after, right? So maybe you find
Mhm.
out that hospital also has a home health company, or that hospital does some kind of DME work, durable medical equipment like oxygen, this, that. Or maybe they're doing some consulting work as far as healthcare is concerned, insurance, help for patients. So you might choose workplace where you're going to get that exposure, and maybe you're working with private practicing doctors and you can learn from them in this way too. So this is also good to learn about the business of it. So we do that actually. We
Wow.
help residents and fellows get their first job or their fifth job. We also help them get equity or partnership into practices. We literally help People start families and buy homes and pick schools. So we're on the full journey of the physician. So you can call it like 20s to 80s, that young and up and coming physician who's going through match, all the way to that doctor who is then retiring. So these are a few measures I can give you perhaps about, what are the options for, alternative paths. There's so many details and avenues around it. I'm sort of one small example in front of you. So obviously anybody can reach me and we can go into more specificity, but there are roles you can play, whether you've done training or not, or if you don't want to do clinical medicine and you want something outside of medicine. That's the beauty of where we're going with healthcare. I made a comment to somebody not too long ago at a conference. You ever go to the checkout stations at like Target, Home Depot, Walmart? You're buying your items and it's a self checkout, right? So there's
Mm-hmm.
no employee there at the cash register. It's just you and the machine, right? And you scan your item and then you pay and you walk out the door. There's like 10, 15 such terminals around, right? All the customers are scanning and there's one employee there watching everything. Tomorrow, this is the future of the doctor. You're going to be one doctor watching 10 robot doctors. You're going to be ordering
Mm-hmm.
parts from Amazon Prime. Be ready where we're going. They're talking about making our mortality live to 150 years and beyond. There's Neuralink, for example, with Elon Musk and other technology where you're going to use the mind to do
Yep.
certain activities more readily than just, as human thinking. So the point is, pay attention, get ahead of it. You want to make sure you're at least that doctor who's watching the 10 robot doctors as opposed to being the doctor who just got finished, right? Who got canceled, who has no work to do. So you've got to learn about the other fields. We're getting into those generations where it's going to be mandatory. They're looking for other degrees, other experiences, other skill sets. So it's very key. And finding a mentor, we do mentorship as well within our organization, is the right guide to get there. I'm telling you, it's not easy to find the right kind of mentor sometimes. So that's very key, as you mentioned earlier, to kind of finding your career, or at least to be ahead of the game on what's coming down the road. So this is what I can
Okay.
tell you.
So if we talk about mentorship, so here's another question. What do you look for in a mentee? How can a resident applicant enter into the mentorship for someone like you with your experience?
So I like to pick a mentee, someone that I'm going to train. I'm going to give my life experience. I'm going to give my secrets to, isn't it? Right?
Yep.
I went
Yep.
through struggle and loss and finances and heartbreak to learn my lessons that I'm just going to kind of give away. So
Mm-hmm.
I look for open-mindedness. I think that is the key for any mentee and mentorship to work. And as I mentioned earlier, usually your mentor is going to be older than you and more experienced than you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
with that being the case, you need to give some love back. You need to be respectful, you need to be grateful, because you might see an answer in 2 minutes, but maybe it took them 20 years to learn it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
keep this in mind. So that's very important, that open-mindedness. Number two, I think we always look for, I mentor people. We have a mentorship program. We have like monthly and yearly activities that we do. And what I'll tell you is that I want motivation. I'm not asking you to be a genius. I'm not asking you to look a certain way. I'm not asking you to behave a certain way. But that motivation is key. The more motivated you are, even if you don't know what you're doing, even if you don't understand it, even if you feel like you're being an idiot, it doesn't matter. You will motivate your mentor. If they see you activating their suggestions, right? Then they're
Mm-hmm.
going to be more motivated to help you. If they tell you do step one, step two, and step three efforts, or step A, step B, step C, then they're going to want to tell you do step D, step E, step F. I'm going to take you to step Z, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you motivate them by you being motivated. So you
Oh,
feel validated, you feel included, you want to help more, you will go beyond in order to do that. You see what I'm saying? So
yep.
this is another very important quality that we look for in mentees. That open-mindedness and that motivation. And of course, there's so many other components that kind of go in and around, but those are sort of individually contoured.
Okay. Thank you. Um, so someone is asking questions. Let's wait for them. Okay.
Okay.
What one thing you wish someone would have told you before entering the world of medicine and entrepreneurship? Like one thing that over the years of experience of yours, what one thing that you would give us, like, okay, this one thing is something over which I have learned over the years. Uh, that's the most important thing?
So very good question. Very good question. Okay. What is the one thing I wish someone told me? My unfair tragedies, hardships are the necessary ingredients to success.
Wow,
Embrace them.
that's
Embrace them. You need them. There is no great person of history that we put in our history books in any civilization or any culture who is without that. They went through struggle, they went through animosity, they went through hate, maybe even lost their life on the journey to become meaningful, right? To become successful. So I think if I had known this earlier, I maybe would not have felt defeated or sad or lost or I've done something wrong so much. It would not have affected me so much because you lose time and energy. It's like someone takes away your power when
mhm,
things go sideways.
mhm,
So that would have been something beautiful. It's still hard to accept it, though. There's no doubt about it. Even if somebody tells you, it's hard to accept that. But I didn't realize that till much later on in my life that, oh my gosh, you have to have a much bigger list of failure than a list of success, right? So
mhm.
that is very much a direct correlation. So this is how I would probably give you my answer. You have me thinking now about my life with that kind of a question. Thank you, Dr. Afshan.
I mean, thank you so much for sharing it. It's because everyone can relate and they can probably they're going through the same journey, and they can also, probably not feel sad and don't feel they're not, they can also think, okay, this is also the spice and this has to be like this. So thank you so much for sharing this. So yeah.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
So we have something in the chat. Dr. Raj, you are such a great
Okay.
inspiration. I really wanted to
Oh,
attain the privilege of getting mentorship from you. And by the way, I am in my fourth year of medicine school and preparing for my step one. So,
uh,
doctor, can you just share with me, or can you just write the link so that they can also approach you, if that's the
sure.
thing? Yeah, that would be
Okay.
nice.
Okay. You want me to add something in?
Yep, if you can just write your, so that they can
I can.
connect
I
with
can.
you.
No, I'll be happy to. And I'll do one more if you don't mind.
Yeah,
You've
perfect.
been so kind and welcoming. Take my cell phone number. If I can be of help to anybody, please don't be shy. Regular text, WhatsApp, what have you.
That's so sweet of you.
305.
Sorry, sir.
No,
Can
no,
you
no,
repeat it
not at all.
again?
Please. Okay. 305 989 0001. 305 989 0001. I'm just a little crazy, okay? So don't even hesitate. Please reach out to me. Let me know where I can be of help. I have been on this journey before, and I didn't always have those helping hands as you guys do. So I understand that struggle.
Thank you so much. This is very helpful. But I hope everyone is not going to abuse this number and but be
No,
mindful of sending text. And yeah, I hopefully, yeah, people need
no,
to be
no, no. I'm
nice and mindful of sending
of
text as well.
course, of course. No, everyone is, I'm sure, a very good audience. I appreciate that. But feel
But
free.
just
I,
a
I'm giving it because no one gave it to me. There was a time in my life, Dr. Afshan, that I did not have the things that I have now. I've been through hardship, so I understand the struggle. The career of medicine is very hard, very real. I've been through domestic violence myself. I have been through a stroke. I lived in Section 8 poverty housing. I've had so many challenges and adversities on my road, on my ride, if I can say that. And I think that has made me into the human being that I am today. And without those, as we spoke earlier, I don't think I'd be able to do the good that I've done, right? I think I've done some good karma. I've seen a lot of death and dying. I am now involved in the world on a larger platform stage, perhaps. So, without all of those hard circumstances, which many people don't always understand, you don't become the person who you are. It is the necessary ingredient. Failure, hardship is the necessary ingredient to success, isn't it?
yes,
Look at human
absolutely.
history. It has shown us that time and time again.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I mean,
Oh, my
I hope
pleasure.
people are getting a lot of information, probably a good guidance in every horizon of their life, not just
Uh,
residency, not just
yes,
entrepreneurship. It's just this, I
exactly.
think, the recipe of life, I guess. So,
There you
so
go. I like that.
yeah,
That's a
this is a
podcast
recipe of
right there.
life.
Recipe of
So,
life, of
yeah,
course, with a little
this
bit of
is
extra masala from me. Yeah. I love
It
my
has to
spice.
be,
Okay.
yeah, the life has to be spicy to,
Yes, of course.
this is just
You
a
you got
part
one
of.
shot at this game. It's got to be spicy. Yes,
Anyway, so moving forward, so what about your book, the
please.
title? Like you talk about the resilience, the survival, the thing about your journey. So I would like to
Hmm.
have some talk about your title book, The American Dream, The Failure is Good. So that's interesting, the topic, I mean, I'm also writing a
Oh,
book for now, so I'm like very interested with the topic. Like the title is so fascinating. Failure
oh
is
my
good.
God, you're too
So
kind.
what failure taught you the most, and how can
Okay.
future residents reframe their own setbacks?
I see. I see. Okay. And I appreciate you noticing that caption. Thank you. Thank you. So, we train our children into thinking failure is bad, right? We don't talk about our failure. We don't, share it with the world and all of that. When I think sometimes that is our greatest asset. Sometimes people ask me, what are your accomplishments or what does your resume look like? And I start off with the failures actually first. It makes me human. It makes me vulnerable. I think other people can resonate with it, and it's real. It's my truth. So why
Mhm.
shouldn't it be for others? And I don't like sometimes that we admonish that, we minimize that in society. And in the physician world, physicians are taught to be independent, show no weakness, ask for no help, always be the tough guy, right? And the problem with that is that it can eventually catch up because you're a human being. Burnout,
Mhm.
depression, anxiety, suicide ideation. You're a human being, ladies and gentlemen. Whether the arrogant physician wants to tell you or not, it is the reality. And after a while, it does wear on you. You know, 5 people in my own family died from COVID in 2020. So that
So
was a
sorry to
huge
hear this.
impact on myself and my family. No, thank you, thank you. And but there's so many who've had to carry that crucible, who've had that story as well. So you're right about that. So thinking along those lines. So what I would say is that in this book that I'm working on with a publisher, I haven't finished it. It's on the horizon. That's what I'm talking about. Failure is good. It is that catalyst. It's that spark. It's that charge to wake your ass up. That's what I'm trying to say. I always say take no and turn it on. You need a little bit of pain, a little bit of suffering, a little bit of hardship in order to wake you up, get you outside of your comfort zone. And that's why I talked about, being motivated, having that will. So you take that experience and then you channel it into something greater. Look at it this way. If, as I mentioned briefly, medicine, I've met many folks who have been pre-med. I actually spoke to a reporter recently and an attorney and a stockbroker, and they all were pre-med at one point. Isn't that funny? And then they said it was too hard, so then they changed their careers. That's why medicine or being a physician has a value in it too. There's no other profession with that extensive of training, and number two, touching a human life in the way it does. But because it's hard to do, it becomes valuable, isn't it? If you could be an overnight NBA basketball star or an NFL player, football player overnight, if everybody could do it, nobody would do it, right? Nobody would do it.
Mhm.
So in the same way with medicine, because it's hard, because you're going to be hit with failure, because you're going to be sad and depressed and cry in the middle of the night with our long, long road, that's why you should do it. That's why you shouldn't stop. You just have to get through those hard moments because there is light at the end of the finish line. But that's what makes it a gift. And that's my messaging in that title of the book, right?
Mhm.
And I'm speaking to the American dream when I'm also talking about this book because of some of the adversities that I've had. So, um, you, you know, in the book, I'm talking about the American dreams, right? It's perils and pearls. So,
Mhm.
perils are the problems and pearls are the gifts.
Mhm.
And there's always a consequence or a sacrifice. So, and I'm referencing it by the failure. So, in this American dream, you want to have the big house and the fancy car and the bank accounts and and the pretty husband or pretty wife and the wonderful kids, blah blah blah. But be ready in medicine. You're going to work like a madman or madwoman, so you won't
Mhm.
get to see your family, and they're going to resent you sometimes. Your relationship with your spouse might break down, whether the physician is the woman or the man. You won't have time. You're going to miss soccer games with the kids. You're going to forget anniversaries. You're not going to show up after someone slaved away making hard earned dinner for you. And they're not going to like you. That could result in divorce, right? Reduced intimacy as well. Then it's such a stressful life and such a financial burden sometimes, it can push you down the road of bankruptcy. So
Yeah.
I've talked about being disconnected from your kids in a way, divorce in your marriage, then a reference to even your finances or practices because you're stressed, you're overworked. So what I'm getting at is this is the price of the American dream for everybody, not just the physician. So you have to see it from that standpoint first and then add in to the physician. In America, the physician goes through a lot of divorce and a lot of burnout. You also see it with attorneys, police, firefighters. There's innumerable studies on this, as a matter of fact. So don't just believe everything you see on somebody's social, right? Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. It doesn't, you're seeing probably 2%, 5% of their life. Don't think it's 100% of their life. Don't think what you see with these, ER movies and medical shows on TV or streaming services that's the life. It's all real. It's not. So if you're mindful of this, then you'll be a little smarter in how you play your game, right? You will
Mhm.
find a way to set aside time for your children. You'll have date nights with your spouse. You'll be a little more fiscally responsible. If you're feeling weak or burnt out or pressured, then you'll seek some help from someone, right? So all of these are quiet little radars or reminders that although failure teaches us and makes us grow into champions, be mindful too that you don't chase these big dreams, right? The pearls, and take
Mhm.
on the perils, right? So
Mhm.
you love pizza, you keep filling your belly with it, it shoots off all of that dopamine and makes you excited. But guess what? Eventually, you might start putting yourself on statins for all that cholesterol and even metformin or something else on the glucose side, isn't it? So
Yep.
again, risk and reward. So be careful how you chase those dreams. That's all. So be mindful. You can quote unquote have it all, but I think you need to balance the formula. So that's what is kind of inherent in what I'm mentioning in the book. And in that book, I'm going to be talking about specific stories that I've been through and other people have been through because it's not just my journey, it's the journey of others. And you've got a small reference, I've been through domestic violence, I said, stroke, rape, humiliation, living in some poverty housing where I had a gang member living on one side of me and a wife beater on the other side. And cops used to come through our little apartment complex, and we were on a first name basis with them every day. Police were coming. So it's not the life you normally expect of, a successful business person or a physician. And I think that is a story that I want to share to help inspire others so they can get out of those circumstances. But two, pass on the good karma. If I'm sharing something, it's because somebody behind me inspired me to not mute myself, not shy my story, not quiet myself or feel shame, but celebrate it so the next person can then be a champion out of it. So that's the idea behind this book. Thank you for noticing that. I do
Oh,
appreciate you.
thank you so much. I mean, showing the vulnerability side of someone's is a real
Yes,
strength. And thank you so much for sharing it with us.
it is.
And
And
thank
as men, we're very foolish this way. We don't do it enough. And then we become bad examples to society, right? When we bottle it all in. Even women do. So I think that's important, and that will make you a better doctor too tomorrow with your patient. You have to appreciate their sufferings, isn't it? The good times
yes.
and the bad times, and you're relatable, right? Yes.
So what does success mean to you? Like if you talk about it, because over the period of time, like when someone is a student, when someone is a resident, when someone is a director, whatever, over the different parts of life, like success definition changes. So can you just explain, like what was the success mean to you when you were as a medical student and over the period of transition of the different roles that you are playing? So how do you define success in different
Okay.
roles
Okay. Got it.
since you
Got it.
started?
Okay. Sure. By chance, do you see?
No.
No. I've been playing with this and trying to figure out what is going on. Okay. All right. So for me, I think that is impact. Okay. How
Mm-hmm.
you affect other human beings is what I call success. Most people look at it as riches, right? Their materialism as their success. I don't look at it that way. If you are affecting people, then you have become worthy. So that means it could be a patient, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be a significant other. There's so many different ways to impact. And impact could be saving somebody from depression, saving someone from a bad, toxic relationship. I was in one of those not too long ago. It's saving somebody from some financial problem, right? So
Mhm.
if you can make impact by your example and your vulnerability, I think you are successful in your life. And then people will seek you out, right? I don't want to just
Mhm.
talk that these are all maybes and unknowns and fluff topics or whatever people might think sometimes, but it'll translate. I do speaking gigs. I do paid speaking as a result because I share my story with people. I've had articles written, I've done things on social media. So you become sought after. And then I want to do this book to make changes. So you can become known, you may make income on it, but at the same time, then you make impact. And that's all one circle, right? Sustainable circle that goes round and round and fuels the machine. So that's what I call richness, wealth, if you will, because everything else will come around it. You're doing something passionate, you're doing something purposeful. The money or the success in the other forms, as we might describe it, come. It's just by default. Just like medicine, everybody's going to work hard, go through match, get their training done, suffering, eating ramen noodles, peanut butter and jelly for the most of their career, not making any real money. But then later on, you will excel and you will launch past all of your contemporaries, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens. So you slow down for a little bit, but then boom, once you're done, you super accelerate. That makes sense,
Yeah, it
right?
does.
I
It
hope so.
does.
Yeah, good,
Yeah.
good, good.
Thank you so much. So,
Yeah.
how do talking
Wow.
about different things of your speaking, public speaking, how do you maintain the purpose and the focus amid so much ventures like TED speaking, TED Talks, business, advocacy, and medicine? How do you maintain this work-life balance? How do you do it?
Oh my goodness. You know what? You never do it alone, like I was talking earlier. Teams.
Mhm.
It's the people you count on every day, right? Goods and bads. You are together as brothers and sisters, as loved ones. That I feel is that special sauce. That has been the case for me at least, because I can't do it all. There's no way I can do it all. I'm not so special. I'm not so smart. I'm not so strong. So those people around me help me to do that. But then you have to also have a responsibility to them. You have
Mhm.
to be good to them. You have to be thankful to them. You have to inspire them. You have to make sure that that is part of the agenda too. So that's building a friendship. That's a love, you know? So
Mhm.
I think that's very important. And then, of course, you should be organized. You should have an infrastructure. That's very important to do these sort of multiple roles, I think you're suggesting. So I think that's important. So that organization is very hard, but I think that is one of the secret sauces again.
Thank you so much. So, I hope this is
Pleasure.
helping everyone, because this is all the holistic approach. It's not about how to groom yourself in different aspects. So, do we have some questions? Okay, so I will ask more. How do you recommend
Please.
residents to find and create a support system and reflect the work in empowerment and advocacy? How to maintain a support system, how to build a support system? Because as it
Okay.
says, yeah, it takes a village to make a doctor. It's not just simple alone. You need
Yes.
people.
You're right. You're right. Okay. And I so apologize for my camera. I'm feeling so bad about this still. So here's what I would say. This support system, as you call it, how this happens is the energy you push out there. If you are a positive person, or you can at least focus on the positive, sometimes you have to trick that great muscle, which is in your head, the brain. If you can have that kind of energy, you'll bring the right people forward to have your support system. So, first, depend on the people who are your friends in good times and also in bad times, but especially in bad times. Because I'm going to tell you, some of your nearest and dearest, including your family, will give up on you. They're going to tell you can't do it. You won't make it. It's too hard, right? And you're going to listen to them if you don't have enough confidence in yourself. And so have the right people around you. And usually it's a small circle, just a few, two, three, four people, just like your real friendship. So it's not some secret formula here. So,
Mhm.
one, count on your classmates, the ones who are true to you. Two, I think it's healthy to have sometimes those support systems outside of your field, because sometimes the very people in your field, there's so much that you discuss within your field with them that you don't get new perspective. So you want people outside your field of medicine too, maybe somebody who's not in the medical space. And then three, you know, use the internet. You can find residents. I was going to touch on this a little bit with networking. You can find residents, for example, on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, other social media platforms, and start chit chatting with them. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to start feeling special. You're going to start feeling important. And this, again, is going to make you happy inside, chemically speaking. And this will keep you strong with your support system. That can even work with physicians. I mean, I literally have worked with match candidates. I just had this situation last week. Somebody was very, very nervous. They had just finished one of their board exams. It wasn't as strong as it should be. And, her husband told her, give up, give up. And she's like, are you kidding me? I'm literally applying in a month. And so she called me and she told me she was crying. She said that my voice soothed her, which I really respected and appreciated her. And she said, I just need your strength in order to move forward. And that's what happened. Because remember, I'm older than her. I am where she wants to be, right? As
Mhm.
educated as an MD. And
Mhm.
then on top of that, I've seen so much in the match experience, right? So she knows if I'm giving some advice, she might only know 5, 10, 40, 50 people maybe who've gone through the process, but I know hundreds, thousands. So I can compare that data. So suddenly she listens to me very differently. Her husband doesn't know these things, and I understand his concerns too. There's time, cost, stress. So I don't blame him for thinking the way he's thinking. But at the same time, I become the support system, don't I? So she's
Mhm.
called me just to tell her, you can do it. Don't let anybody deter you from the path, which she already knows. But me coming in both in medicine and a little bit as an outsider gave her that energy, that strength. So sometimes it's like phoning a friend, having a consult, having somebody out there just to give you that fire in the belly, right? Even though you know it already inside of you. It's nice when someone else pushes that out there because they're going to tell you how good you are, how worthy you are, how you deserve it. Hang in there. It's a long journey, but it's going to be worth it, right? So these
Yeah.
are a couple of ways to get people. So get someone as a support system who is out of your normal box, not just your classmates or your friends that you've had for years, but like a resident or somebody like me as a mentor or somebody else, because you're going to see us very differently, right? You're going to have an
Mhm.
extra respect for us, if you don't mind me saying that. I say it humbly. So it'll motivate you automatically, right? If
Yeah.
President of the United States or, Prime Minister of India calls me, I'm going to live on every word they say. If they tell
Mhm.
me eat 3 eggs every morning for the next 5 years and you'll become a champion, I'm going to eat 3 eggs for the next 5 years every morning, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm hanging on every word, the respect, the awe that I have for them is going to be in me. So that's what you need in your support system. And that's the mistake I see some candidates do. Students, I was there. Don't forget that. You always have the same old, same old, same old. You need a
Oh,
little different ingredient in there, a different masala. You understand my point? Yes.
thank you so much.
Uh,
My last question for me, and then over to you, whatever you want to add. So,
okay, no, thank you.
how can residents and young doctors get involved in innovation while getting trained in residency?
Okay. So, good question. Part of that is tough because you have such a hellacious schedule, right? It's busy, 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 and you got to be focused, right? Just like when we help candidates with their board prep, we have some board prep programs. We tell them focus on your boards, study, 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 and get that good score. Don't do 3 research projects and 2 rotations and working on your personal statement. No, volunteering, all this. No. So you have to be very smart on how you do this. So with regard to innovation, depending on what it is, I think it's going to be more of an education process than a doing process. You're not going to take on some part-time job. You're not going to now probably create a blog or a website that you have to manage about innovation. So what you're
Mhm.
going to do is grow and learn in that time. That's where you're going to read. That's where you're going to talk to people. You might literally be seeing it right in front of you in your own hospital program. Who knows? So I think that unfortunately is maybe the one answer I can give you right now, because I also don't want to deter anyone while they're in their training.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. You could in between, if you have time, but again, priority is the training. You can visit conferences and see innovation. There are a lot of healthcare innovation conferences. It can inspire you. You can do research, but don't sacrifice your training. I will tell you that, because that is going to help you with the innovation stage. So use it as sort of a searching period or a research period, learning, educating yourself rather than fully acting on things. It's tough.
Perfect. Thank you so much for valuable time. We just have 5 minutes. If you want to
Okay.
add something, over to you, sir. And thank you so much. It
Sure.
was such a lovely learning from you.
Wow.
So yeah,
Thank you, Dr. Afshan. You're so humble and welcoming. I really appreciate you. Thank you. I'll just share maybe a couple of notes, insights, if I may, with regard to the match in particular, because we get so many questions.
yes.
So we're a group of 26 doctors. We help match candidates all the time. We do everything from getting volunteer work for you, last minute letters of recommendations, rotations, guaranteed research publications, direct one on one interview prep. So we can even do that now, even as the application cycle is coming up. We're very strong in this space. And what I'll tell you here too is that you have to keep in mind a few little nuances that I want to share with everybody. Your personal statement, don't make it like everybody else's. It needs to be a storytelling. It needs to be very Americanized. It needs to pop. You don't want to just talk about, I've always wanted to be a doctor, or somebody was sick in my family and that's why I chose it. That's very generic. It's beautiful and it's true that you want to be a doctor for these reasons, but you have to have some adversity in it, some pop, some story that is really going to move them. When we create personal statements for candidates, our personal statements get printed and they're brought out in the interview. Program directors have literally had these personal statements in their hands and they ask questions. Like, we have great English writers. We put a lot of nuance into medicine. Even your chat GPT can't do the same thing, because we interview you, we take points from your resume, and then we also know the healthcare system and we make a nice blend and massage that very well. So that's something else to keep in mind too. Um, What I can also tell you about is follow up with thank you letters or thank you emails. People forget to do that. You need to do that. And what I would recommend in an email or even a card, if you're sending that, is try to make them engage you back. Don't just thank them and kiss their butt and write what everybody else writes. Try to engage them in a question, bring up something from your interview, take notes after your interview, and ask them something. Maybe they're working on a new research project or something happened to one of their children. Make a question in your card or your email so they're more compelled to respond to you. Many people get emails that they read and they never respond, right? You're trying not to be that person. So keep that in mind. Another tip I can give everybody is on your application. Remember, when you're building this application, you're also building a SOAP application, right? That
Mm-hmm.
supplemental service system that happens in March, scramble as we used to call it, if you didn't match. You're also applying for post SOAP, positions that might open up afterwards before residency starts in July. So you need to keep that big picture in mind when you're doing this application. So what I'm saying is, watch out what phone number and what address you put on your application. Have an address if you can through a friend, if not yourself, where it is in a state that is IMG friendly and also maybe where you want to go, what programs you like. So they see that, they think that you're a local. That's what you want. Number two, the phone number you should put there should not be an international phone number. It should not be a WhatsApp number. It should be a cell phone number, even if you got to pay for it. Even if you have to put someone else who's very reliable, their phone number on there too. Because when SOAP comes around, sometimes they just call you. There isn't time to get an email or something like this. So they're going to literally call you. And if they can't get a hold of you, they move on to the next candidate during that SOAP period. So that's another strategy to keep in mind that I see people making mistakes on. Very important. And then, like I said earlier, you should have 3 letters for every specialty. We do a very customized letter all the time. You get to see it. We edit it, you know. Keep in mind step 3, if you're an older graduate for year of graduation, that's also helpful when it comes to matters of J1 visa, H1, on the immigration front. So don't forget that. And apply broadly is another point I'd like to share. You probably need to be hitting 100 programs or more. You You can't be difficult on where you want to go. The IMG card is a little hard. There's a little prejudice against us in the system. And immigration has been a little up and down. America's realizing that we have a shortage of providers, but we haven't quite changed our immigration laws the way we need to. But some changes are coming in a positive way, so keep it in mind. Signaling, I'm sure many know about signaling, how you choose programs. Be smart how you signal. It's very important that you choose wisely with that, because that is a question candidates will get. And so you want to be able to say, yes, I signaled you. So that's also an important notion in mind. And signaling is basically specifying the specific program that you want to pursue. I can also say something about the 10 experiences and the MSPE, the Dean's Letter. 10 experiences, take it serious. They're mini essays. We do a really cool job on how we bullet point it and how we write the messaging in there, including the 3 meaningful parts. That's very important, all right? So don't forget that. And don't be overly stressed about the Intel Health with regards to how it's processing verifications and all that, like the pathways, Epic, ECFMG, and all of this is just compartmentalizing it. It's just another way for them probably to make money and sort of make it efficient. So please don't make that a stress in your mind. I get that kind of a question. Um, and the Dean's Letter, make sure you have one. We write them, we make them, we can upload LORs and everything else in between. Try not to do it yourself. Waive your right to the LORs and we can get that uploaded for you. Dean's Letter should be good, strong, broad. We've done it for many institutions around many different countries. So more or less, these are a few things. We can also help you fill the gaps. If you have years where you didn't have any activity on your resume, it needs to be U.S. activity, U.S. volunteerism, U.S. research, U.S. rotations. We can help fill all those things for you even now today while applications are coming up. So make sure of that. So don't get disheartened with Match. Sometimes the algorithm is a little weird, so you don't know what can happen come March, but it doesn't mean that you don't deserve it. It doesn't mean you're not qualified. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be a doctor. I know many people, colleagues of mine, who applied 3, 4 times, failed board exams, had some problem in their resume. And guess what? Nobody asked them today, and they're taking care of patients and saving lives. That is a gift. That is a gift. So keep it in mind. So these are just a few other pointers, Dr. Afshan, I just wanted to throw out there just to be helpful.
Perfect. Thank you so much for this extensive. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude for taking out time and sharing your story, insights, and being an inspiration. Your journey has overcome so much, and it is giving us an inspiration for us to be more resilient and carry on with our path. Thank you so much. So, do you have an email so we can share with the
Thank
audience
you.
and website if you can, so they would
Yes,
be able to,
yes.
please, if you can.
Sure, sure,
So,
Dr. Afshan. Let me give our website again, please.
first, please.
It's,
So that would be
yeah.
nice.
All right. Innovateyourlife.com. So that is INNOV8, innovate your, YOUR, life, LIFE, innovateyourlife.com. And then the email,
Is it Ricer? InnovateYourLife.com?
oh, let me see. No, no. Hey, I'll type it here. It's a
Sorry,
little
sir.
different. No,
Okay.
no, no, no. Don't say it. That's all right. That's all right.
Okay.
I know it's a little more unique style. You'll see now.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Did you see that?
Yep.
Yes. So
So,
Innovate is spelled INNOV8. We're Innovate Doctors Group. That's who we are.
okay, great. So this is
We're a group of
basically
physicians.
okay.
And email you wanted?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I'm putting it all in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, I think you can see that now.
Oh,
InnovateYourLife.com. And then
yeah.
email innovateyourlife@gmail.com. And then my phone number, my cell,
Okay.
305-989-0001.
Perfect. Thank you so
You,
much,
you,
sir.
you, you can send me your Uber Eats orders. How about that? All right?
I don't mind it. At least we can.
Yes, yes.
So
Oh
what's
gosh.
your favorite food, sir? Pizza.
Oh my goodness. I would say makni chicken, butter chicken, and pizza.
Done.
Yes. These are my two.
Perfect.
Good
Anyways,
question. I like it. I like it.
thank you so much for your valuable time and thank you everyone. So
Oh, thank you, Dr. Akshan. Akshan, I really appreciate you. I really am proud to see what you, Dr. Zane, and your helping hands, IMG helping hands, are doing. You're making doctors. You are saving the world. You are creating love and care for patient care. So I'm happy to be on that road with you. So thank you for having me. Thank you for hearing my story. And if I can ever be of help to anyone and you, please do reach us. We're good at what we do, and I'm very motivated. It's part of our human journey. And I'll always remind everybody, love your struggle. Pain is power. This is
pain is
just the
powerful.
beginning.
Thank you
The
so
best
much,
is yet
sir.
to come.
And yes, the best is yet to come. In this great note, we have to end this webinar. Thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, sir. So
Wonderful.
signing off.
You got it. Best wishes to everybody on the journey. Okay? You are not alone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.